Hey, my name's Matt, and I'm back with more tips to help you enjoy the best of the West. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to hike Angel's Landing at Zion National Park, which is a pretty big topic right now because this year in 2022, they are requiring you to get an advance ticket through a lottery. So we're going to talk about the lottery, how it works. We're going to talk about how to get your lottery or how to enter the lottery and get your permit, the different sections of the hike, so how to do the hike, and then I'll close it off with some tips and frequently asked questions about the hike. So let's talk about how the lottery works first of all. So this is a pilot program. That means they're testing it out. This is the first year they are doing this, so it may change in the future. Who knows? It might even change this year. Zion is going through a tremendous amount of changes because it is, we just found out last year, the second most visited national park in the country. This is crazy because it used to really not even be on the radar of national parks. And over the last 10, 15, 20 years, it has just exploded in popularity, which is why they now have to do a lottery for some of these things. In order to do the lottery, you must enter on recreation.gov. So the easiest way is just go to recreation.gov and then search for Angel's Landing and you'll find it. You can request a permit for up to 6 people in your group. And if you are selected for the permit, all 6 of you, or your entire group, however large that is, must be present at the same time on the day of your hike. And you will also need to show a photo ID when you arrive. So the person who submits the request for the permit must be there with their photo ID. You're the one in charge if you're the one submitting. You can only submit 1 application. If you ended up submitting 2, they will kick you out. You can specify an alternate person in your group, so if for some reason you couldn't make the trip or the hike that day, they will allow an alternate person to lead your group. If you're selected for the permit, you should print the permit or at least download it to your phone. Do not rely on cell connection the day of when you get there because cell connection is pretty hard in Zion National Park. Usually you're not going to have it. If you're selected, you have one of 3 start times for your hike. They have windows of when you need to begin the hike that day. So the early morning start time is either before 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, depends on the season. Then there's a mid-morning start time between 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock, or 8 and 11, again, it depends on the season. So there's kind of an early morning, a mid-morning, and then an afternoon, which is after 11 or 12, depending on the season. Okay, now let's talk about how to apply for the lottery. So when you're on recreation.gov and you submit your application, it's going to cost $6 to submit an application, and I believe that covers however many people you're submitting. So if your group is 2 or 6, I think the $6 fee applies either way. If you are selected, they will then charge $3 per person for the permit. So if you have 6 people in your group, you'll get charged $18 for the permit. That is for each of you to have a permit. Okay, now there are 2 different lotteries that you can enter. So they have seasonal lotteries and they have day before lotteries. Okay, so let's talk about the seasonal lotteries first, and I've got my phone here with the dates to make sure I'm giving you the right information here. So I'm shooting this in February right now, and the spring lottery is over. So all hikes before June 1st are booked up under the seasonal lottery. Again, you could try these under the day before lottery, which I'll get to in a minute, but all hikes up until June 1st are booked. So the summer lottery is the next one. That opens from April 1st to April 20th, and that is for June 1st through August 31st. So that's a 3-month window. You only have a 3-week window to apply in April for that 3-month summer window. Once April 20th is passed, then the lottery is closed, and you'll have to try the day before lottery if you didn't get that in time. Okay, the fall lottery, you have to enter the lottery from July 1st through July 20th, and that is for September 1st through November 30th. So you enter July for September, October, and November. The winter lottery, you enter in October for December, January, and February. Okay, so those are the seasonal lottery windows. By the way, I'm putting plenty of links in the description for the resources that you're going to need, both on recreation.gov and on the Zion National Park website. Okay, now if you were unable to get in during the seasonal lottery, or if you didn't know about it until it was too late, then you can still try the day before lottery. So you have to enter in, this is literally the day before you want to do the hike, you have to enter in online on the lottery before 3 o'clock p.m. And I believe that's mountain time because Zion is on mountain time. Double check that when you look at the recreation.gov, but I believe it's 3 o'clock p.m. mountain time. At 4 o'clock p.m., they will send you an email to let you know if you've been selected or not. that's again for the next day. Okay, now the next thing is, what if you don't get the lottery? What if you don't get in the seasonal lottery or the day before lottery? Should you cancel your trip? Is this a game changer? Well, for a lot of people, they're coming to Zion specifically just to do Angel's Landing. Angel's Landing's all over social media and Instagram. It's like this crazy popular hike. However, I want you to know that less than 10% of the people who visit Zion do Angel's Landing. In fact, I ran the numbers and it came out to 6% of visitors hike Angel's Landing. You do not need to hike Angel's Landing to enjoy Zion. Cheryl and I have been going there our whole lives, and we've only hiked Angel's Landing a couple of times. It's just a fabulous canyon to be in. It's great just to do the drive. There's always the Narrows hike that you can do as well, which we've covered in another video. The Emerald Pools hike is great. Just the canyon is amazing. And then there's even places outside of Zion Canyon that are still within Zion National Park that are fantastic. In fact, I just finished updating my Zion National Park guide, and I'm so excited about it because I think I finally got it right. Zion is actually kind of a difficult park to plan out a visit to in a lot of ways. And so I've created this super simple guide for how to get the most out of your trip to Zion. Okay, so let's talk about how to actually do Angel's Landing hike. In case you haven't seen one of the millions of other videos out there on the hike, let me give you a brief overview of how to actually do it. So first of all, the hike is 5 miles long, round trip. You're gonna take the shuttle, the Zion shuttle, to stop number 6, which is the grotto. If you're confused about the shuttles, watch my other video on the shuttles. I'll put a card up here somewhere. Okay, when you get off the shuttle at the grotto, you're basically just gonna follow the crowd because everybody's gonna be doing Angel's Landing that gets off at the grotto stop for the most part. You're gonna cross over the bridge, which goes over the Virgin River, and then you'll start to walk up an incline. And as you're walking up the incline, you'll be staring straight at Angel's Landing, but you'll be able to see it right there from the canyon floor. If you look to your right, you'll see the Great White Throne. These two actually are kind of connected in name. An early minister who visited the park was so amazed by the Great White Throne, and he named it the Great White Throne because he said God lives there. And then he named Angel's Landing because he said angels land closest to the throne of God. So they kind of stare across at each other across the canyon. Then you'll go up switchbacks. These are fairly steep, pretty intense. They're kind of longer switchbacks. They're not the famous Walter's Wiggles. You'll get to that in a minute. But as you're going up to these switchbacks, you'll get some really great, beautiful views of the canyon floor below. Really nice shots there. Then you're going to enter Refrigerator Canyon, which is kind of a cooler area. It's shaded. Last time I was there, they had Mexican owls in the canyon, so there was a sign saying to please be quiet, not to disturb the Mexican owls. From Refrigerator Canyon, you get some pretty cool views of this big arch on the canyon wall across the way. Then you're going to get to 21 switchbacks that go up 250 feet. These are called Walter's Wiggles. They're really pretty cool. They're short switchbacks, but it's kind of intense because you're climbing this big hill basically. Okay, then you'll get to Scout Landing, which is kind of a gathering area almost, or an area that people get ready to finish their hike. At Scout Landing, you have really nice views of the canyon floor. And there's also some outhouses there that you can use the restroom if you need to. This is kind of crazy because they empty those outhouses with a helicopter. But there's so many people that do the hike, they needed to put a bathroom up there. At Scout Landing, there's just a lot of energy. People are really excited because they're just about to enter in the main portion of Angel's Landing. But something I want to bring up here is that you do not need a permit to hike up to Scout Landing. You only need the permit to cross over the chain section, which is the next section that you'll encounter after Scout Landing. So the famous chain section is where there are chains. There's a chain bolted into the rocks that you can hold on to so that you don't fall off as you cross the Hog's Back, is what they call it. Hog's Back has, at some parts, straight drop-offs on either side of you. Now, it's not like that the whole way. It's not like you're walking on a precarious situation the entire way across the Hog's Back. There's just a few spots that are like that. But they have the chain there for most, or I think most or all the way across the Hog's Back, just in case. This is the famous section of Angel's Landing that people talk about how scary it is. Once you cross over there, you get to Angel's Landing, which is just kind of a flat little plateau area up on top where you can hang out, get a drink, eat your snacks, enjoy your views, take your pictures and all that. You could take a nap up there if you really wanted to. And then when you're ready to go back, you just turn around and head back down the chain section. Now note that there's people going both ways along the chain section, so you kind of have to be considerate, and sometimes you'll have to just step off to the side while somebody comes by on the chain section, and then so you kind of take turns crossing paths. Okay, so that's a brief overview of how to do Angel's Landing. Now, let me just give you a couple of tips and kind of answer a few common questions here. So first of all, in terms of footwear, we just recommend wearing some tennis shoes or some cross-trainer type shoes. Generally recommend not wearing boots because they're kind of heavy and unnecessary at a place like this, in our opinion. We just like to be a little more mobile and wear our easy tennis shoes. You want to bring plenty of water. Most of the hike is out in the sun, and it is really hot in Zion, especially if you're visiting in the summer. That's one reason why they have a morning and then like an early morning and a mid-morning time for the hike, is because most people do this very early to avoid the hot heat of the day. So bring plenty of water. We have a Camelback that we use. I'll put a link to that in the description. We really enjoy the Camelback. Cheryl likes the Mule Camelback, so I'll put a link to that for you. The park nowadays, they always recommend salty snacks. So one thing I've learned about places like the Grand Canyon and Zion is that there are some issues with people drinking too much water and not eating enough salty snacks in the sun. And so now all the parks are recommending you to bring some snacks and eat those with you as well. The next thing is you want to pack it in and pack it out. So make sure to be a responsible hiker and keep everything clean. There are a lot of people that hike this hike, so it can get pretty trashy if people aren't being responsible. There are no pets allowed on the hike. You can't fly drones anywhere in the national park, so don't try to do that. And then also, don't feed the chipmunks. There are plenty of chipmunks that hang out around there. Please do not feed the chipmunks. Okay, is the hike dangerous? The answer is no. You know, you see this a lot on social media. It's kind of clickbaity to talk about how dangerous Angel's Landing is. Clearly, there's cliffs on both sides, so it could be dangerous if you're not responsible. There are 300,000 people who do this hike per year. On average, less than one person per year falls off the ledge and dies. So I typed this into my calculator, the percentage there. 0.000003, that's a fraction of 1%. It's safe, and even the people who pass away are being irresponsible for the most part when they do it. They might be hiking when it's icy out. I think some people might even commit suicide on the trail. So I mean, it's a safe hike. You don't need to be concerned, but you do need to be okay with heights because it is kind of scary. So if you're too scared of heights, I don't know that I would recommend it for you, but it is safe. Can you take kids on the hike? The answer is yes, you can take kids, but obviously you'd want to be very judicious about what you do there. We have not done it, so that's one reason why we've only done the hike a few times. Our oldest child is 16, so for the last 16 years or so when we visit, we've never done Angel's Landing. Last year, we went there and Cheryl did Angel's Landing, and I took the kids off to do Emerald Pools because we still do have some younger kids. So we don't really want to take our kids on it. Our friend took his kids on it, and he was just stressed the entire time. So use your own judgment there, of course, but you can take kids on it if you want. With the explosion of people visiting Zion over the last decade or so, it's important to have a really good game plan and understanding of how to visit Zion National Park before you go. So we have created a trip planner video for you to cover all the necessities. So check that video out next. Thanks for watching, and until next time, go west, young traveler.